Game settings. We're talking about controller settings. Before you get started in FC25, you should get into this section, and it matters. It makes a big difference. So preset competitive. If you play online, it has to be competitive. So ignoring auto shots and assisted headers. When you come down to a shot assistance, I think almost everyone will be on assisted. That's where I'm going to start. Manual will be so difficult for you to get used to. It's not making the game easier in any sort of way. And when I look at setting up tactics and setting up different settings and visualization and camera views, I want to make the game as easy as possible. Precision you might see used from time to time. I've definitely seen players experiment with it. I still think it's a lot more difficult. There's a bigger room or a bigger margin for error. I would leave that alone. Time finishing, if you're an intermediate player or better, you're definitely turning that on. You want that extra boost, a little extra emphasis. It's been in the game for a minute at this point. Through ball, semi, lobbed, semi. It's what I prefer. Assisted for the ground. I like crossing with semi as well. Some of you might have this on assisted, but I lean on semi. Lob pass, I'm fine with assisted. If something doesn't feel right over an extended period, I'm also open to changing certain passing or shooting or just different, I don't want to say stat lines, but different settings. And that's what you have to be open to. This is not going to make or break your game. The pass receiver lock, whether it's late, it's with an animation start, or it's on a power up, I'm going to play on late. But it's again, this is not a setting. Some of them are very important, drastically important. That's not one of them that's going to dramatically shift your results. It's not a miracle worker. That's just the reality. Precision pass, sensitivity, I would not have that on high. I'm going on normal. Defending wise, I would recommend clearance being on directional. If it's on classic, you just clear the ball. If it's directional, you choose basically a direction as you clear the ball. Defending, I'm going with advanced defending. I want to be able to move around a little bit. Basically the one you don't want and you can't do anyway is legacy. But I'll be on advanced defending to get this party started. Pass block on auto switching. So this is huge. If you don't have this set up right, you'll lose more games. There's no doubt about it. Air ball and loose ball is fine. Manual is also fine. You might have to take some time getting used to that. Only air balls, also good to go. And we're talking about now auto switching with crosses and chip through balls. All right. And then automatic, you got to stay away from. If you are on automatic, you're in big troubles. I'm going to start with loose balls and air balls, but you can do whatever you like here. I want to say that's a new add-on where you could do only loose balls or only air balls, but I could be wrong. But I'm going to have it on air balls and loose balls to get started. Move assistance low. Right players, right stick switching, classic. I like classic. I'm used to it. Player relative, which I think is a lot easier than ball relative, which just means when you're switching players, it's based on the player that's currently being controlled versus if it was the ball, it's based on where the ball is and you're player switching based around that. I think it's more difficult personally. I like starting on 5-6 area for a lot of sensitivity. And if you want to adjust something, by all means, adjust it. Classic, reaction time modifier. When using the next player switch option, I'm actually reading this one. Reaction time modifier. Delay in reaction time. This might be new. I have not changed anything with this. It might be better off. That's my full disclaimer. This is not something that I've adjusted. And even when I was scrolling through this previously or earlier, I didn't even notice it. So player lock, definitely on, even if you don't use it a lot. Again, if you're an intermediate or an advanced player, at some point you're going to introduce player lock. You're going to need to have that on. The automated dribbling, contextual dribbling's off. Analog sprint, I cannot stress this enough. If you have analog sprint on, and it used to be defaulted to being on, you're not going to like yourself. It's hard. I think it makes the game more difficult. And if you don't know what analog sprint is all about, basically, when you're holding the sprint button, the further you hold it down, you would sprint faster. But I don't know anyone who would prefer that. I don't like the resistance with the trigger effects. I don't want my controller vibrating. And I stand by that. Those are controller preferences. I think I'm going to do a separate video talking about camera settings and some of the visual stuff. So if this was helpful, let me know. If you have questions, I'll answer them. If you have statements, I'll hear those as well.